And good evening, everyone. Welcome to the December 9th, 2021 Borough Council meeting. We will begin this evening with a moment of silence and Pledge of Allegiance led by my good friend, Councilor Landis.
Thank you, Mayor Scott. So tonight I want us to think about teachers, the quiet and loud work they do, the way they have to learn to shelter students from school shootings and inspire students to become their best self daily. They are comedians, entertainers, poets, inventors, and they parent our children as much as we do. We trust them to care for and educate our youth, and we hope our children trust and respect them in return. They have been under such scrutiny these last 2 years, especially with the pandemic, and now with how they educate our youth about the realities of our history. If we don't support them, trust them, thank them, we will start to lose them, and we already are losing some. This holiday season, take a little extra time to thank your teachers. Make them know that we see them and their worth and their effort and the care they put in every day. And now the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Brenda. And now, if Deputy Mayor Schultz and Borough Manager Armstrong will join me at the podium for a special presentation. Oh, yeah, let's do that first.
Okay, that sounds good.
Let's do that.
Mr. Cramsey.
Here.
Ms. Fulham-Winston.
Here.
Mr. Hicks.
Here.
Ms. Landis.
Here.
Mr. Schultz.
Here.
Mayor Scott.
Here.
Mr. Stubbe.
Here.
Ms. Hayes.
Here.
And while we're at it, why don't we do opportunity for citizens to be heard? There are no scheduled guests this evening that want to address council, but if anyone on the Zoom or here in person in the audience would like to address council on any matter of borough government, now is the time. All right, we'll move on then. Now, Mayor-elect Schultz and Borough Manager Armstrong, please join me at the podium. A little anxious there. Okay. All right. This evening, we are here to honor a veteran of our police department, a man that I have known since I first started these many 20 years ago, and I've seen him advance in his career. He is, of course, Detective Sergeant Daniel J. Friedman. And we are here to honor him as he retires from borough service to become a magisterial district justice, which is very impressive. I think you'll be very good at that, sir. And we have a plaque here for you this evening, and the plaque reads, Carlisle, Pennsylvania, established in 1751. Borough of Carlisle committed to excellence in community service in honor of 23 years of service, Detective Sergeant Daniel J. Friedman, with our greatest appreciation for your service and dedication to the Borough of Carlisle, presented this 9th day of December 2021 by Borough Council, Carlisle Borough Council.
While I have the mic, without trying to tear up here, I've told a few people I've spent half my life here. I mean, I've 23 years of service here at the department. I would not be leaving if not for that position as magisterial district judge. Everything I've learned here, the education, the training, the experiences, prepared me to get elected for the position I have, and I'm just grateful to the community for allowing me to do that. And wish I could stay, but I'm moving on. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Dan, I'm not going to let you get away that easily. So, yeah, I think back on the years where I know we don't see what you do every day. I know poor Stephanie has to deal with you every day. but at least she was invited here tonight. So, but you helped, for better or worse, when council chose to switch the dispatch over to the county. You took that up, and you helped this borough and your beloved police department through that transition. And I know councilors in the past who voted for that, and the borough today, we're better because of the work you did then and the work that you've done every day for the last 2 decades. And I'll repeat what I told you when you first told me you were going to run for magisterial district judge, and it's a very high compliment when you told me, and I said I hope you lose. Because we didn't want to lose you here. So Dan, thank you for your over 2 decades of service to this borough and the citizens here. All right, thank you. Thank you, Stephanie, for sharing Dan with us too. Thank you.
Well, I promised I wouldn't get choked up. But Dan, I just want to thank you sincerely. You, true professional at all times. You were one of our go-to people. Every time we had an issue, we knew we could count on you to be there, to listen intently, to be very objective. I know that many do not realize this, but Dan also serves on the Collective Bargaining Association, and truly was very objective during the whole process, and couldn't have asked for anything better. And we may not have always agreed through those processes, but we certainly had the highest regard for you as a professional and as a public servant. I know that this community you carry in your heart. We couldn't ask for anything more. And Stephanie, just thank you for sharing your husband with us for 23 years. We know it's not easy, but thank you.
She reminded me. So I would be remiss if I didn't mention my wife, obviously. To see, look at that, Chief. See how I got it? Yeah. So when the election happened and we knew it was all finalized, the relief I saw on my wife's face to know that I wasn't coming to this job anymore. And then you realize how many nights they stay up. I mean, I spent 8 years working 7 at night to 3 in the morning. So there were nights constantly where my family's sitting at home wondering what's going on, and you don't think about that while you're at work. So just my daughter Katie and Stephanie seeing that relief on their faces it's surprising, I think, because I didn't realize. So we don't sometimes take into account what our families are also going through. Love the job, but I'm sure she's glad I'm not doing it anymore.
Thanks, Gary. The power has gone to my head already. This is now my meeting, and I hope everybody is comfortable in their seats, because I think it's gonna take about 30 minutes. You think I'm kidding? So we have. I didn't realize until halfway through the day today, and caught myself in the mirror and realized I was wearing sort of these muted colors, almost colors of mourning, and we're sort of in a way grieving some losses tonight. We have our friend and longtime police officer who's moving on to maybe greener pastures. You'll see. And we have 2 dear colleagues for whom this is their final meeting. So Deb, if you would join me down here while I sort through things. Let's see over here.
I feel nervous.
I have to. It's going to take me a moment, I think.
Okay. I'm not going anywhere.
I told you this is my meeting. So, this one should be. There we go. Okay. Oop, the ribbon fell. You won't mind that.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Deb, you've served on council since 2017. I did not vote for you. I'll remind you. And it wasn't, and I was forced with a tough decision. And it was no disrespect to you, of course you know. I voted for Brenda that night. And if I could have had 2 votes, in fact, we long ago had a council member who had to vote on a vacancy and asked if you could vote for 2 people. I knew I couldn't. I know the rules. I would have voted for both. I think the mayor knows who I'm talking about. But several months later, I had the best of both worlds. Brenda was elected. You were sitting on council with us. But I want you to know how much I respect what you've done for this borough, even before you joined council as Elm Street manager, and the work that you put in to make this borough a better place then and throughout your time here on council. And to underscore that, we weren't often on the opposite side of votes, but we were on one particular development site over at the old Tire and Wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a difference of opinion. The next day, I went on social media, this cesspool of hyperbole and irrational thought, and somebody was attacking you. I don't know if you knew that. Good for you that you don't go on social media very much. It took me about 5 seconds to leap to your defense, and it was because you have been a thoughtful leader, an impassioned leader, and when you believe in something, you stick to it. And we need a lot of that in leadership in this country and in this borough. It was you who was behind keeping that rental ordinance moving forward. There are things that you've done to keep this council motivated on issues. What I'll miss most of all, and that the public doesn't get to see as often, because it usually happens in executive sessions and outside of public meetings, but it's that acerbic wit of yours, blunt, to the point at times, and I love it. I love it. So before I give you some time here, I'm going to give council an opportunity to say a few words. But what we have for you here, I have to sort through all the gifts. It's like door prizes here. So we have a pint glass.
Excellent.
With Carlisle, All-America City,
Yeah.
and our borough logo, your name, your years of service, and this, and Mayor Scott, spoiler alert, you're getting one too. This is something you can use and watch us on Facebook. You have a drinking game, and so every time the mayor forgets a roll call, or you have to drink at least half a pint. Okay. We also, unfortunately, the plaques that we had were a bit delayed, and we tried to be thoughtful about the quotes and on here. And for yours, Deb, we chose a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. So a wise, intelligent woman of her time, and she said, "Do what you feel in your heart to be right, for you'll be criticized anyway." And I think that pretty much encapsulates your view on the world. And then finally, we have for you canvas print.
Thank you so much.
So I'm sorry. See, I pulled the wrong one out. That's the mayor's, but we'll switch those up. So, drinking game. So I'm gonna.
Were you using the pint glass earlier?
I'm not yet. I didn't have time. I was across the hall. I have witnesses. So would council like to offer comments for Deb? Someone has to chime in. I have to put you on the spot.
Deb, I'm going to miss seconding everything that you offer up. always asking you for a pen, a cough drop, anything else that you have in your drawer. You've been a positively delightful sidekick here on the bench, and you will be missed. And it's been great working with you and seeing your passion and the work that you've been able to accomplish in these years. So kudos.
Yeah, Deb, I will also miss sitting next to you. The pandemic sidetracked some of our in-person meetings, so I've only gotten to be your seatmate for a few months. But I want to echo Sean's statements. Thank you for everything you've done for this community before you were appointed to council, and then after your appointment and your election. It's been a pleasure serving with you. And Sean hit the nail on the head. The rental ordinance doesn't happen without you. This was your leadership, and I admired the way throughout the whole process, which was long and contentious at times. Your number one priority was the health, safety, and welfare of our residents. And I think, if I took a step back and viewed how you acted on council throughout your term, I think that's always how you led. So it was nice to finally see that get done for you. It was such good policy. We passed it twice, which I think is, a banner thing for you to carry on. So, I just want to thank you again for your commitment. Our borough tonight, it's a deep loss that we're losing one of our great police officers, one of our council members, and our mayor. But we hope you stay engaged. And I want to thank you also for being a friend. I might still text you. I hope that's okay. So you can't escape us yet, but truly, on behalf of, I think on behalf of council and our community, we're lucky that you were here with us, and thank you.
We were so fortunate to have the legendary Deb Fulham Winston as a member of this governing body. And the one thing I always liked, Deb, but before that, your leadership on the rental ordinance. You came to me in 2019. You said, we're going to do this again. We are, right? It's like, yes, we will. And here we sit. So thank you very much again for your leadership on that. But you always have a smile and a kind word for anybody you see here in this building, in this audience, whether you agreed with them or not. And there were some that you didn't agree with, because I didn't agree with them either. But, just your infectious nature, I really appreciate that. I'm going to miss seeing you at least once a month. So thank you for your service.
Deb, you'll definitely sorely be missed here. I think, so obviously we've only been together serving on council for 2 years, but I think we kind of got to know each other through the Eastside Neighbors Association before that. And just a story for anybody who doesn't know this. So when Deb and Brenda were first coming on council, an individual who was on council prior that was no longer on council had attended the meetings fairly regularly, the Eastside Neighbors meetings, as a council liaison. And when that individual is no longer doing so, we kind of had a void there at the meetings. There was nobody attending from the council to kind of give an update. And I recall we reached out to members of council asking if anybody would be willing to come. And I swear, I think we sent an email and it was like an hour later. Deb was like, oh yeah, I'd be happy to come. And you were religiously at every meeting. And as soon as, I think as soon as I told people, hey, Deb Fulham Winston's going to be coming to the meetings, most of the people there already knew you. They were excited to have you coming. And likewise to what Tim said, I mean, there are a number of times where you had disagreements with people at those meetings, I know, but I think everybody always respected that you were willing to hear them out. And I think that just speaks to your character. And obviously that's something that isn't seen here at these kind of meetings. It's more of a smaller group meeting outside of this, but I always appreciated that. I know everybody there always did. And I think we as a community will sorely miss you having you on council. So it's been a pleasure serving with you.
Deb, we're going to miss you. I had the benefit, unlike the rest of you, of having my monthly meetings with the borough manager with Deb. And I couldn't be more lucky, because she's just a treasure trove of knowledge. So before she served on council, she had been active in the community. And I think I asked more questions of Deb than I did of the borough manager. But it was just great. I'm so glad we ended up teaming up. I learned so much. And I'm always going to refer to the rental ordinance as the Fulham Winston ordinance. And if I'm the only one, that's fine. I think we should continue that tradition of naming ordinances for people who actually move things forward. But we'll miss you, Deb, but I'm sure I'll see a lot of you. All those in favor say aye. Would the borough manager like to chime in?
Oh, absolutely. With Deb, I started, I guess I was introduced to you back during my first stint here, and you were one of our Elm Street managers, and you were housed on this same floor with a number of individuals in one tight area. And the one thing that every time I travel through the community and I go through the north west section of town, there's a number of street lights that every time I look at those at night and I see how certain neighborhoods were transformed through a grant that Deb sought and we received to install street lights. I look at those lights and I think that's Deb's projects, and that's just one of the areas that she's put her imprint in this community. I know what she thinks of this community. I know what she thinks of her family. It's good to see them here this evening. I will miss sharing stories with you of family and our children. I also very much appreciate those times when you would just text to see how I'm doing, if I needed anything, and truly the support and guidance that you provided. So thank you very much, Deb.
Deb, the floor is yours. I'll move it out of the way.
Okay. I was going to make the comments later, but I'll do them now. So it seems the appropriate time. First of all, I would like to say a series of thank yous. First to the voters who voted me in, to council members who appointed me the first time around, so I was able to serve, to our amazing borough staff. I think we as a municipality are extraordinarily lucky to have a cadre of talented public servants, and I use that phrase very specifically because these are people who are always looking out for the well-being of our community. And they have done an extraordinary job. And Carlisle is a much stronger place and a better place to live because of the work that all of you do. And I so deeply appreciate everything that you have done to support everything that we have tried to do as well, and brought us new ideas as we've moved along. And I'm incredibly grateful for that as well. So I'd also like to thank my family for the number of times that I was not around. Lots of us know that feeling. And I just want to thank everybody who's here tonight for being here, because we need people to know what's going on and to be an active participant if we're really going to make this borough work well. So thank you all for being here, and thank you for everything.
Borough manager, do we pay the solicitor by the hour, don't we? We might want to check on that budget that we're going to be passing. Okay. Mayor Scott, you just sit tight. You hang out there for a bit. I don't know if you remember this guy. Not at all, right? So this guy here had no idea what was in store for him, and neither does that guy. Okay. Tim, because of you, we have student ambassadors. One of your first initiatives that strengthened the relationship between the borough and some integral institutions in this town. You went through BRAC processes where we were fighting to keep the War College in place, which is an essential part of this borough. You were the first one to bring the human relations ordinance to this chamber, and it took a lot of patience. And I know we've served about 17 years. It's been 17 years since we first served together, and we had to have a lot of patience over the years to get things done. It's under your leadership that the rental ordinance passed too. Through your guidance, your ability to navigate the public meetings that were often contentious. You have a calm, settling demeanor, You have a respect for people and the democratic processes that make this government work at its best. You put Carlisle before yourself. Sorry. You took the mayors see the prestige in presiding over police departments. You thought home rule was the right thing for this borough, and you gave that power away. And if that doesn't define a great leader, I don't know what does. You treated the office of deputy mayor as a partnership, and it's something that I will continue as we go forward, as long as the deputy mayor is not Joel Hicks because he's a Washington Wizards fan. So, sorry, Joel. I had to lighten it up because I wasn't going to make it through the rest of this. In a moment, I'm going to present to you a sort of digital letter of love and respect from this borough. It's a video. It may make you cry a bit, may make you laugh a bit. By the end, it may even make you hungry. So, Stephanie, could you cue up that video for me?
We would have heavy discussions sometimes. And then I would have to say maybe, well, that's it. I've said what I'm going to say, and that's the way it's going to be. But it was never a whole lot of disciplining for him. So, and he told me he never, when he was older, one of the Mother's Day card he got from me, he said he never wanted to disappoint me. And I said, oh, I kept it. It's tucked away somewhere.
Timothy, my nephew, came to Carlisle. I believe it was back in the 70s. He was a little boy, smart little thing.
I was a single mom for a while with him, and that's when we moved to Carlisle. That's when I was a single parent for a while. As a kid, Tim was light years ahead of me. I always had to be try to stay ahead of him, especially academically. I started talking to him like he was an adult very early on. I found out that was the best way for us, to communicate.
Greetings, Tim. As a junior member of council and newest resident of Carlisle among us, I've heard myriad stories of your service here. They are all reflective of the person I've come to know and admire and proud to call friend. Your leadership as mayor here has set a high standard, which is exactly what Carlisle deserves. Your calm, steady presence sometimes belies your thoughtful, active mind. I am not fooled. I've always admired your ability to say just the right thing at the right time. Your mentoring of me is also appreciated. As a novice to elected office, you gave me just the right amount of encouragement to move forward on issues that I'm passionate about, and I couldn't ask for anything more. So, Mr. Mayor, I raise my glass and say thank you for your service. Thank you for being the leader to showcase to the world why Carlisle is an all-America city. I look forward to leaning on your wisdom moving forward and hope our paths will cross frequently.
He might not want me to say it, but when he was like 4 and 5 years old, Walter Cronkite was the news anchor on CBS. And every evening he would gather up a bunch of papers, sit at the coffee table in front of the TV, and as Walter Cronkite would be talking, he would be talking. He would repeat some things Walter Cronkite said. And when Walter Cronkite turned a page, he would turn a page.
My husband, Roosevelt Wilson, he was a police officer here. We came here in the 60s, and he was stationed at the barracks, at the Carlisle Barracks. And after he retired from the Army, being in the military for 20-some years, he joined the police department here in Carlisle.
His uncle, my brother-in-law, who was on the police force, Wilson, Roosevelt Wilson, they called him Doc. I don't know if it was through him. He got an internship with at the courthouse with some of the judge or something like that. So I think that's where it started.
I met Tim in, I think, mid-2000, late 2000. We were both interested in politics, and we were volunteering for different political organizations or candidates. And someone said, you two should run as a team for Borough Council. And we sort of took it as a dare, and we looked at each other and laughed and shook hands and decided to run for Borough Council as a team. It would have probably been February of 2001 when we went out and knocked on our first door together.
Tim's a likable child. He's a likable young man. He had so many friends. Somebody was always stopping by. Somebody always wanted to spend the night. You know, he had so many friends. And I found out his teachers liked him too.
And what I remember about Tim at a door when someone came out is he had this wonderful laugh, welcoming smile, and I would say about 2 out of every 10 people knew him already. Especially when teachers came out, they gave him hugs. They just loved Tim Scott. So we ran as a team knowing that it would take 2 to get 1 over the final hurdle. Tim obviously won. I was enthusiastically happy for Tim. The borough has, 20 years ago, won an incredible advocate when he got elected, and it's been a wonderful 20 years.
Mayor Scott, just wanted to say thank you for your many, many years of dedicated public service to the borough of Carlisle. Can't believe your term as mayor is coming to an end. You will be greatly missed. This video will not be long enough for me to list all of your accomplishments that you had at your time on Borough Council and also as mayor of our wonderful borough. But just know through your dedication and your leadership, the borough accomplished many, many great things. Hopefully we'll get to list some of those at your final meeting. But I personally, wanted to thank you for being a great friend, being a mentor, always being someone there to help new colleagues as they came on to Borough Council. And really, it was a pleasure to watch your dedicated service and the way that you handled minor issues and then the toughest issues that we dealt with, always with respect, always with leadership, always listening to all sides of the issue, but never backing down from your beliefs. Carlisle was truly blessed to have you in leadership. And I know this isn't goodbye. This is see you soon. I know you'll remain involved in the borough, and we're lucky for that. So again, thank you, Tim, and good luck in the future.
When I came to Carlisle in 2009 as a student at Dickinson, you were the first member of the Carlisle community who I met, and I'm so glad I did. Your vision for the community and your desire to make local government work better for all of Carlisle inspired me and so many others. Thank you for being a mentor, a friend, and the best mayor this borough has ever had.
I tried to, encourage him whenever, if he asked me about something, and I said, if you think you can do that, sure, do it, And sometimes he'd ask me, Mom, can you help me do so and so and so? Like one time he wanted to be the one to help to give get the refreshments and everything at one of the meetings they were having at the Democratic Party house here in Carlisle. So yes, I will do that. I will do that for you. That's what I can do. Now, I can't do anything else. I don't have a ton of money or nothing like that, but I can do that.
I was very proud of him when he did become mayor. He was Carlisle's first and only black mayor. My father, who was a Carlisle police officer, encouraged him to do that job. He thought he was a good person for it.
And when Timothy was sworn in as mayor, my husband, Roosevelt Wilson, he was there also. So my husband was very, very proud of Timothy, and I think he gave him a lot of pointers as being the mayor of Carlisle because he knew a lot of people here in Carlisle. I just want to say that I am proud of him, and I'm proud to be his Aunt Evelyn.
When he told me he wanted to run for mayor, and I said, what? Oh, okay. He said, and you're gonna help me, Mom? I said, as always, I will help you whatever I can, I'll walk with him around some of the streets and putting out literature, I did all of that. So, but then he won, and that was, to see the expression on his face that night, and, and I think they caught us a picture in one of the newspapers, and we were hugging and everything, and I was so proud of him, and I said, oh my gosh, people like him. They like him. They like my son.
I just wanted to say, congratulations. It was a great 8 years of you being mayor, 20 plus years being on the city council. Things aren't going to be the same without you. January 3rd, sure can't come soon enough to be looking forward to just being called Tim.
And I echo what David said. Tim, we are so proud of you to be your cousin and to be able to say that my cousin is the mayor. I mean, it's just been awesome. You've done amazing things for the town of Carlisle, and it's not going to be the same without you, but just so proud, and congratulations.
Mayor Timothy Scott of Carlisle, Pennsylvania. It's come to my understanding that you're going to step down. The people are going to really miss you. I know how hard that you've worked. You've been unselfish. And I think a lot of people realize that you had a knack for it. You didn't tell them what you wanted to do. You asked them what is it that they need, and you worked it out. Whether it was dealing with recreation, whether it was dealing with infrastructure, or whether it was just dealing with taxes and other different people. You were what we call a real good leader. In other words, to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower. I've enjoyed you working with you over the years, and I know one thing, you being a member of Team 24 and always working for the people, sending different data together, you were always a priceless individual. I've looked forward to you later on, my friend. We have a good time together, and I know that the people of Carlisle will always know. Hey, you forget, you're the person that tells people where's the best places to go to eat, and you send almost every place all over Carlisle. Yeah, you know it very well. Also, you're a great cook. I hope things are going to be well for you. Team 24 thanks you, and we look forward to seeing you together as we get together in the near future. Congratulations, my friend.
I've served with Tim on council for 2 years now, though I've known him for a little while before that. And when I was first considering running for council, even before I was considering really, Tim was one of the first people to approach me and ask me to think about it. And when I did run, he was immensely helpful throughout that process, providing me advice, even being willing to go and canvass in town with me. And that's when I realized that there pretty much isn't anybody in Carlisle that doesn't know who Tim is. And I think that's because of how warm and friendly of a personality he has. I think he can go into any room that I've seen and be able to talk to people there, engage with them on a personal level, and make people really feel comfortable being able to talk to him. And that's something that I've noticed has continued throughout my time serving on council with him. And I will say that personally, he's been somebody I look to as a mentor in my role on council.
What I appreciate most about Tim is that, yes, he's a politician, but he's an effective politician because above all else, he is just himself. He's genuinely who you meet is who he is. And I think that's what makes him successful, frankly, in anything he does. But as the voice of the borough and our mayor, he has that unique ability to bring grace, humility, and a wonderful sense of humor to what he does. He always is the happy warrior, doing his work diligently with a smile on his face and building consensus. That's what I've appreciated over the last 20 years of seeing him represent us in Borough Council and finally as mayor.
Humor is just so important in so many situations, but in public situations, it can be a real diffuser of tension and can be very effective. In terms of civility, I can think of two specific examples of when civility really came into play and was so important. Once was about 9 years ago during the first rental inspection ordinance round of hearings, and the second one was during the Human Relations Commission. One of the things that happens not infrequently is that people come to council to express a concern, or they're angry, or they're upset, or they're hurt, but they may never have spoken in public before. And Tim is incredibly good at getting people to relax, take a deep breath, and speak their piece so that we can hear and listen carefully to what they have to say, and they can feel satisfied that we have heard them.
I just want to say how much you are greatly appreciated. You are considered a trailblazer. You were the first Black mayor here in Carlisle. You paved the way for myself and for others that will come along after me and after you. So I want to say thank you so much. We really needed that, and you've been great.
The one thing that he said to me on several occasions was that we grew up together. which we did. He was, I think he was around 30 when he first got elected to office, and is about 39, so we're about 9 years apart. So 20 years worth of public service together. It's been a blessing. He one time joked with me, he said, "I'm glad you're back, Susan." He said, "You keep me grounded." But you know, Tim was always grounded.
Anything particular that you would want him to know that you would be able to say on camera? Words of appreciation.
Let me see. You're going to get me to break up now, so.
I owe my ability to come this far to a handful of folks, and one major influence is and always will be my friend and mentor, Timothy Allen Scott, a true Renaissance man. You know, we've come a long way from friends to now family. You always guided me through some tough times where I had fallen from grace into my own moral turpitudes. But your supernatural level of patience helped guide a quixotic bunch of friends that lacked direction in their visions. Although I still have my brother and mentor, Carlisle, you'll be losing a great leader. Thank you, Tim, for your compassion and leadership. You've given the people of Carlisle, and especially to this once adrift constituent, the lessons in compassion and leadership. So enjoy, man. This next phase of life, there's no dress code.
Hello, Mayor Scott. Even though you're not going to be mayor for much longer, you will always be Mayor Scott. Everyone will remember that, and everyone will know the good work that you've done over these years. You've gotten us where we needed to be, and we're going to try to make you proud by continuing that work and keeping Carlisle on the forefront of progressive and thoughtful values and work. I will say that one of the things that I appreciate the most is, as a new counselor, you always were so helpful whenever I was unsure of things, how to approach things, and you always came about it in a very relaxed way. So not that it wasn't important, but you made me feel more comfortable. And I think over these years, I finally understood how you got there, and it's just work. It's just taking the time to understand things. So I'm really happy that you're going to be able to sit down and relax and chill out. And, we'll catch up. You know how we do. We'll hold court at our favorite neighborhood spot and still hang out with all the residents and locals of Carlisle. So I'll see you there, Tim, soon enough. Good job. Congratulations.
I'm not thankful for a lot that came out of this pandemic. Not so much to be thankful for. But what it did is allow me and Tim to spend a lot of time every day together, talking on the phone, talking with Susan, the borough manager, and it helped solidify that bond that we have as political brothers. And I'll miss that, obviously, going forward. But I told Tim the other day that over these next 4 years, as I take the office of mayor, I know there are going to be times where I have to channel my inner Tim because he always did things so calmly and managed to get things done and give people space to do what they needed to keep this borough moving forward.
I suppose he may have gained a lot more wisdom, especially when it comes to dealing with people. You can't expect everybody to go by the rules all the time. You get people just don't do it. That's just their nature. They don't do it. So when they don't go by the rules, don't be upset. Don't say, well, the rules said, and, he is that type person. The rules said, but no, don't. I think he's got a little bit more wisdom concerning people, like that.
I certainly want to express my deepest appreciation for you, Mayor Scott, as you're exiting. Certainly, when we look back over the half of a generation of time that you have spent serving this borough in the capacity of mayor, you have made a tremendous impact on this community in ways that I'm sure will be reflected upon for generations. You broke a glass ceiling that we thought was shatterproof. And because of that, you have been an inspiration to so many people like myself to be involved, to be engaged, and know that there is a place for us at the table. Thank you for always taking my criticism with a smile on your face. And thank you, sir, just for being yourself. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your time and your commitment to this community. And I'm sure I'll see you around.
If he was sitting where she's sitting, what would you tell him?
Well, always remember that God always has something for you. Whatever is planned for you by God, that's what you're going to do. That's where you're going to be. And God will always give you the wherewithal and the strength to see it through.
Like any good superhero movie, there's a mid-credit scene. I mean, so before we roll this, because it's a great story. One last thing, Tim. You often, when you introduce people to me, you tell them, all these different things I do. And you say, Sean's a superhero. I want to be him when I grow up. Tim, you're the superhero, right? You've had to overcome obstacles that I'm sure I could never possibly imagine, and you do it with class every day. So now it's the mid-credit scene stuff. Go ahead. Tim, we got a lot of great things done for this community in this chamber, and it's largely because of your leadership. From the skate park that you advocated for early on, that's now just coming to fruition, to the human relations ordinance that took a lot of patience, that was brought to this chamber by you. And this community is all the better for your service. I'm thankful for your friendship, and I'm thankful that we now all know about the toast.
I remember one day the toaster broke, and he said, Mom, we don't have any toaster. I said, we need a toaster. He said, when are you going to get one? And I said, well, you have to wait till I get paid, and I'll get the toaster. Well, that was maybe like 1 week during the middle of the week. But then by the next week, a toaster came in the mail. He was about, maybe 11 or 12. A toaster came in the mail. He called his grandparents in Virginia and said, we don't have any toast because our toaster's broken. And they sent him a toaster.
I love toast. I do. I love toast.
I thought about bringing a loaf of bread tonight. I said, Mayor Scott, my mayor, would you please join me up here? As we do that, I want to also, Martha, Larry, could you also join me? Because Martha, I have to present you your Oscar for Best Leading Actress. Martha, thank you so much. I mean, without you, there is no Tim Scott. Thank you for sharing your son with us all these years.
Thank you so much. God bless you, Sean.
Thank you.
God bless you too.
Larry, thank you. Stand up here with Tim because he's gonna have an opportunity to speak here. So Tim, did we get you?
You did.
Okay.
I have no idea how many people did.
Well, you basically know what you're getting. But that was something that now it'll live on on the internet at least until Keanu Reeves reboots The Matrix again. Right. So when you have a bad day, you go to that video because there's a lot of love here in this town for you. So I'm not going to go over all the plaques and everything, but what I do want to do, because I was and Deb, I'm sorry, Joyce reminded me there's also a pen for you. So yeah, I'm a little flustered tonight. I'm sorry. Tim, your quote that I chose because we both have a love of the mythos of comic books, right? So maybe you'll recognize this. In times of crisis, the pandemic in times of crisis, the wise build bridges while the foolish build barriers. Do you remember who said that? T'Challa. Mr. Mayor, the floor is yours.
Again, I just don't know how all of you had time to do this. This is incredible. I had no idea. Thank you so much. When I began this magical mystery journey 20 years ago, I had no idea I'd be standing before you as the mayor of this borough. And I have a lot of people to thank for that. But first and foremost is my family. You guys want to stand so everybody knows who you are? You kind of like to stand. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Other than Susan, these are the folks that keep me grounded also. And they remind me that the decisions that we make as elected officials affect real people. And that's always helped guide me. So thank you, everybody, for that. And to my colleagues on council, thank you for putting up with me for the last 20 years. I think that we make a great team, and it's really the teamwork. And folks will come here and say, well, it's hard for us to tell who the Republicans and the Democrats are. That's because the party affiliation makes no difference. Now, it just so happens that we are all Democrats now, but when I first started, that was not the case. But we work together for the common good, and I appreciate all of you. And the staff, and former Chief Snyder's joined us. Thank you, sir. And Christian Muniz, former Planning Commission member. I always say to folks, you help make us look good. You do the real work. And we would be nothing without you and your hard work and dedication. So thank you very much, staff. And to my venerable parents, thank you also for putting up with me, and my mother, who refused to have dinner with me after I became mayor because people would always come over and stop us while we were eating. And we never finished a meal. So now I get to finish a meal with you too. So thank you very much. And thank you. And again, it's not goodbye. It's just I'll see you later. Thanks.
I'll give you the meeting back. I'm just going to get it. Okay. It's your meeting again, Mr. Mayor.
It's hard to forget we do actually have a meeting this evening. So moving back into it, we will now take the vote on the consent agenda. The following is a list of routine items which do not appear to be controversial in nature and which probably do not require additional discussion. They can be acted on by one motion in their current form. If a discussion is desired on any particular item, any member of council or the public may request that item be removed from the consent agenda, and that item will be considered separately. Now, saying all of that, is there any item on the consent agenda that any member of the public would like to see removed? And that's everything at the bottom of page 1. Or is that page 3? Page 3, sorry. Page 3, page 4, and that's it. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. Moving on to our regular agenda. I do not believe there are any tabled, continued, or recurring items to consider, so we'll move into reports from elected officials. Mayor's report, I think I've said enough. And we will go into reports from committees, beginning with Budget and Finance. Mayor-elect.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council take the following actions regarding the adoption and implementation of the 2022 budget. I move that council approve the 2022 budget resolution. We have to do some roll call, so I'm going to go through one by one.
Yeah. One by one. Okay. All right. Councilor Deputy Mayor Schultz moves to adopt and implement the 2022 budget. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Okay, now for the 3 roll call votes. I move the council adopt an ordinance setting the 2022 real estate tax rates for general purposes and fire service appropriations.
Deputy Mayor Schultz moves to set the real estate tax and the fire service appropriation. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Since this is an ordinance, we'll have a roll call. Madam Secretary.
Mr. Cramsey?
Aye.
Ms. Fulham Winston?
Aye.
Mr. Hicks?
Aye.
Ms. Landis?
Aye.
Mr. Schultz?
Aye.
Mr. Stubbe?
Aye.
And Mayor Scott.
Aye.
I move the council adopt an ordinance increasing water rates.
Deputy Mayor Schultz moves to increase the water rate. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying, oh, this is a roll call. Madam Secretary.
Mr. Cramsey?
Aye.
Ms. Fulham Winston?
Aye.
Mr. Hicks?
Aye.
Ms. Landis?
Aye.
Mr. Schultz?
Aye.
Mr. Stubbe?
Aye.
And Mayor Scott.
Aye.
I move the council adopt an ordinance increasing sewer rates.
We have a motion to increase the sewer rate. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All right, this is a roll call vote. Madam Secretary, if you please.
Mr. Cramsey?
Aye.
Ms. Fulham Winston?
Aye.
Mr. Hicks?
Aye.
Ms. Landis?
Aye.
Mr. Schultz?
Aye.
Mr. Stubbe?
Aye.
And Mayor Scott.
Aye.
Okay, we're through the tedious part of the agenda. I move the council enter into contracts with R&D Cleaning Services, LLC to provide janitorial services for the borough facilities, Borough Hall, Public Works Garage, Stewart Community Center, and the Police Department. Said contract shall be for a 1-year period effective January 1, 2022, pending solicitor approval.
Deputy Mayor Schultz moved that the borough enter into a contract with R&D Cleaning Services. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries.
I move the council adopt a resolution committing funds for future economic activities totaling $50,000 from the parking fund.
Deputy Mayor Schultz moved to adopt the resolution committing funds for future economic activities. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries.
I move that Borough Council approve the 2021 active volunteer firefighters list that qualify members of Union Fire Company and Carlisle Fire and Rescue for the reimbursement of earned income tax credit and real estate property tax credit in accordance to ordinance number 2320, membership list for 2021.
Deputy Mayor Schultz moves to approve the 2021 active volunteer firefighter list in accordance with ordinance number 2320. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries.
I move that Borough Council adopt a resolution ratifying the execution of a service agreement with Tucky Mechanical Services Incorporated to provide for the emergency replacement of a water heater at the Carlisle Police Station. It's been cold there. In the total amount of $48,645.
Yes, this is sorely needed. Deputy Mayor Schultz moved to adopt a resolution for the execution of a service agreement. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. ERCP.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have 4 items this evening. First, I move that council appoint Robert Mitchell Childs to a partial term as the Community Engagement Team Lead on the Climate Action Commission. The term will become effective immediately and shall expire September 1st, 2022.
Mr. Stubbe moves to make an appointment to the Climate Action Commission. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Next, I move that council adopt a resolution appointing Britt Ernie Muniz to a 5-year term as a member of the Carlisle Borough Zoning Hearing Board. The term will become effective January 1st, 2022 and shall expire December 31st, 2026.
Councilor Stubbe moves to make an appointment to the Carlisle Zoning Hearing Board. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Since Christian is here tonight, Christian, thank you for your family's continued commitment to this borough.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Next, I move that Borough Council adopt a resolution appointing Anna Nitsch to a partial term as an alternate member of the Carlisle Borough Zoning Hearing Board. The partial term will become effective January 1st, 2022, and shall expire December 31st, 2024.
And Mr. Tooby makes an appointment to the Carlisle Zoning Hearing Board. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And the last item I have, as council knows, we have received a request from retired police officers asking for a cost of living adjustment for the police pension. That's not currently built into the 2022 general fund budget, and due to financial concerns with the budget and anticipated funding shortages in the general fund moving forward, I move that Borough Council reject the cost of living adjustment request made on behalf of the retired police officers.
Mr. Stubbe makes a motion to reject the cost of living request made on behalf of the retired police officers. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries.
And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. I move that council release funds in the amount of $19,030 to Canine Guardian of Annville, PA, for the purchase of a 16-month-old German short-haired pointer dog. The package purchased by the borough includes the canine known as Jackson, 10 weeks of explosive detection, tracking training, and a vehicle insert for transportation, and a kennel to house the dog.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on this?
I just wanted to add, Mr. Mayor, that Jackson is a very good boy.
Duly noted for the record. Anything further? All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. Welcome, Canine Jackson. I move that council authorize the Downtown Association to reserve 3 parking spaces on the eastern corner of South Hanover and West Church Avenue for downtown horse and carriage rides on dates and times reflected in their special events application.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. I move the council adopt an ordinance amending the code of the Borough of Carlisle with respect to Chapter 244, Vehicles and Traffic, establishing 4-way stops for the intersection of B Street and Factory Street, B Street and Northwest Street, and B Street and North Pitt Street.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This is an ordinance, so Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Cramsey.
Aye.
Ms. Fulham Winston.
Aye.
Mr. Hicks.
Aye.
Ms. Landis.
Aye.
Mr. Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Stubbe.
Aye.
And Mayor Scott.
Aye. Motion carries. And finally, I move that council reject all bids received on October 20, 2021 related to towing services program. And I guess
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. And Part B, I move that council authorize the establishment of a towing service program pending solicitor approval, which will allow qualified towing service companies to participate at a price established by the borough as outlined in the towing services pricing schedule.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. And that ends my report. Public Works.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ask Borough Council to authorize the full release of financial security posted by Tri-County HDC Limited for the 157 and 159 East South Street Residential Development Project in the amount of $42,152 to reflect the completion of the project.
Ms. Fulham Winston has moved that council authorize the full release of the financial security posted by Tri-County HDC Limited. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries.
And I also ask Borough Council to approve by resolution the submission of a traffic signal maintenance agreement and an application to the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, PennDOT, to extend the designated school zone along Wagner's Gap Road, SR 0074, to the maximum allowed 1,600 feet within the borough.
Ms. Full Winston moves to approve a traffic signal maintenance agreement and an application to PennDOT. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries.
And that completes my report.
Thank you very much. Now we're on to new business, and this section also includes any citizen that would like to address council on any matter of borough government. The proverbial second bite at the apple, if you will. Okay. All right, we'll go starting at the end with our student ambassador. We'll do reports from council members and staff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few updates. So after Thanksgiving break, random surveillance testing was done for COVID, and our numbers are still very low with only one positive result out of 384 so far. Tomorrow is the last day of classes, and the college will be officially closed for the holidays from December 22nd to January 4th, reopening on January 5th, and classes will resume on January 24th. And the Republican gubernatorial debate will be taking place at Dickinson on January 5th. Although it will not be open to the public, it will be broadcast on PCN. And I guess I'll also add, I learned today that you were the reason for the Borough Ambassador Program, so I thank you for that. Without you, I wouldn't be here, and I just wish you and Deb the best of luck on your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Brenda.
So growing up, I used to love seeing the cheers and jeers section of the paper, so I'm going to do that tonight. Cheers to Amy June Bates, a quiet, unassuming woman with a big impact. She is a Carlisle resident and children's book illustrator and has illustrated books for the musician Jewel and Jill Biden's book about Joe. Through this work, she was invited to create the holiday program for the White House this year, including the official holiday ornament. You can download and print the ornament of a dove for free on her website, amyjbates.com, and find her books at Whistle Stop Bookshop. Cheers to Tim and Deb for their devotion and commitment to making Carlisle a better place for all, and the joy that they will feel doing absolutely nothing on these evenings going forward. Cheers to Matt Arment, our skate park designer, who had a work-related accident recently and broke 21 ribs. His clavicle had internal injuries and was asleep for a number of days. And he called me this morning and he asked what work he needs to do next. He is a resilient human, and I appreciate his devotion to his work and craft, and Carlisle will benefit from it. And finally, cheers to me. I've been on council for 4 years, and when I started this work, I was very confident. I wasn't very confident. Everything was new, and I didn't want to get anything wrong. I tried to find my footing and push important priorities forward cautiously but persistently. I didn't want to ask too much of staff, so I was patient. I read every document on every agenda, and I always tried to ask good, thoughtful questions. Historic preservation is a priority of mine. I had heard concerns about the structural safety of the building of the Union Fire Company back in 2018, and I spoke with the then Borough Manager Matt Canlin about finding ways to raise funds to stabilize it. I work on things behind the scenes a lot, try not to make things big at these meetings when quiet work can happen. I didn't follow up, though, as I should have, and I let it fall off my plate, as I didn't hear anything more about it. We have consent agenda items that are deemed non-controversial in nature. I've gotten complacent, and while glancing over the hard items from last month, I didn't see that a demolition request was in there for the building. I should have pulled it out. I should have made my concerns known. Even if I couldn't have saved it at the 11th hour, I should have tried. It is gone now. This is my neighborhood. I hope that something good comes of this demolition, but I feel like I failed my community by not working harder to try to keep this structure, by not asking good questions, by not being a little bit more persistent. I hope the memorial that is planned is lovely, and I would love to see it as a quiet green oasis there, since it is surrounded by a sea of asphalt, a place where passersby can sit and relax and learn about the incredible work our firefighters do here and everywhere. Going forward, I promise to do better. I promise to dig in and not be complacent. And if I ever feel my heart isn't in it anymore, I will offer my seat at this bench to someone else who can take on the good work. And that completes my report.
Thank you. Deb.
Thank you. Just one, and One more thing I just wanted to mention, since this is my last time to be speaking publicly for some time, and that is that I ask everybody who is in this room and who might be listening to this recording or paying attention to pay very careful attention to our other elected representatives and their actions. The last election was fair and well run by our dedicated County Elections Bureau staff. As fair elections are the cornerstone of our democracy, those who would slander our elections are actively harming our democracy and do not deserve your support, but rather your censure. Please protect our democracy by registering to vote and by voting in every election. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Mr. Cramsey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few, hopefully, quick things. I erred on one of the votes tonight. I was a little slow on the button, but Borough Secretary, if you could mark me as I was a no on item B4 for the police COLA, a no to reject. Thank you. Sorry about that. And then lastly, just again to Deb and Tim, thank you for your service. As I said, our community will certainly miss the both of you. For Mayor Scott, I didn't get to mention it in the video, but I think Jeff and Christian might be in the same boat. Working in Harrisburg, when people ask where you live and you say Carlisle, the first question is, "Oh, do you know Mayor Scott?" And I after the fourth or fifth time that happened to me in Harrisburg, I started to realize you truly are a great ambassador for our borough, whether it's in Harrisburg, whether it's going to municipal league functions or conferences, and we're lucky that we have you. To Mayor-elect Schultz, you have some very big shoes to fill, but I think we're confident that everything will be okay. But Mayor Scott, we will continue to bother you. Thanks.
And speaking of Mayor-elect Schultz,
haven't I said enough already? So all I'm going to say is this, and that's the way it is.
I am never, ever going to live that down. And that's probably a good thing. Mr. Stubbe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended the Eastside Neighbors Association meeting last night, and just because he was brought up earlier in our agenda, I just wanted to mention that Jackson attended the meeting. I think everybody there was really appreciative and glad to get to meet him. Also at the meeting, an attendee brought up an idea that I thought would be worth us considering. Essentially, the borough looking into putting together some sort of welcome packet or sheet for new residents. They mentioned, whenever a house is sold, that's essentially that the borough would have some knowledge of that, and what we could do as a borough to provide information to new residents about our trash collection policies. Not everybody's familiar with like the pay-as-you-throw policy, recycling, snow removal, things of that nature. So I just wanted to bring that up on behalf of the individual who brought that up last night, and see what we thought we could do as a borough to further that idea.
Thank you. Mr. Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one item tonight. Per council's direction at the workshop, worked with Stephanie Taylor to assimilate a good and convenient, useful way for the community to interact and publicly comment on our draft climate action plan. I encourage you all to check out the wonderful work that Stephanie has done on the Engage part of a borough's website. Also, we don't have convening now a Climate Action Commission, as I mentioned, and Joyce, you are on that. I noticed that those are no longer on the calendar. Well done. We will reconvene based on the recommendations of council and see the most optimistic path forward for the voting on the final climate action plan is still preserved for the January council meeting, but we'll just have to see. I encourage the community to comment and really share any concerns they may have with our draft plan. But I really want to thank the team leads for all their effort in putting that together, and I look forward to reporting back on that in January. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Manager Armstrong.
Thank you, sir. Just again, I wish to thank Deb and Mayor Scott for your leadership, your guidance, your support throughout the years. Your presence will be missed at the table, but we certainly hope that you'll come back and you'll remember, and tap on the manager's office door and come in at any time, because one thing that I am certain of, and I somewhat joked with Mayor Scott the other day, is I think even as he relinquishes his title as current mayor of Carlisle, he'll be sipping his denim coffee and he'll still get the calls and taps on the shoulder for, what do I do about that pothole, Mayor? My utility bill's high, Mayor. I have a water leak and nobody will listen to me, Mayor. And we say that a little jokingly, but seriously, both of you have been wonderful. The community knows you're very approachable, you're accessible, and we certainly appreciate your service, and you'll be sorely missed. I also want to introduce this evening our new director of our new department, the Sustainable Economic and Community Planning Department. Mr. Jared Woolston has joined us at the staff table. Jared comes to us from Brunswick, Maine. He has a very strong planning background, and he, his wife Nicole, his daughter Finley, and his son Owen actually attended the Saturday holiday parade and marched with us, and they're looking forward to becoming part of the community. And Jared, I know I'm hitting you cold, but I thought maybe you'd like to say a few words to the community.
I didn't prepare anything, so and I don't want to steal the limelight from these nice people. I'm happy to be here. This is really neat. We didn't do this kind of stuff in Maine. It's refreshing. It's nice to see the appreciation that staff and elected officials get in the community of Carlisle. So I'm looking forward to working here.
I'd also be remiss if we didn't thank Andrea Krause and her team for pulling off the holiday parade on Saturday. It was a wonderful day. We had a lot of participation, and Andrea, I know that's not easy. Just many thanks to you and your team.
You're welcome. We had a great weather day, so I'm not sure what will be next year, but looking forward to whatever might come with that.
And just happy holidays to everyone. Thank you.
And Mr. Solicitor, do you want to bring us home? Okay. Thank you. A man of few words. And with that, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.